Okay, so I'm going to start working on some grapes, and these I'm going to juice. But what I've done, I love my big deep sink because I was able to put all those grapes in here with some fruit wash, and I'm letting them kind of working them around in there to make sure they get good and clean. And I've got this great little scooper strainer so that I can go through and pick up things that come to the top. It's going to have little bits of things because these we picked right off the bushes or the vines. I guess it's the vines, right? Anyway, so what I'm doing is I just move it around and give an opportunity for those things to rise to the top, and then I'll scoop them off. Now when I put them in the juicer, I'm not going to take the stems or anything off of them because it's not going to matter. These are just going to pop open and the juice is going to come out, and it's going to be wonderful. So as soon as I get to that, I'll show you, but until then, I'm just going to come around here and scoop off little bits like that so they're nice and clean when they go into the juicer. Okay, here I've got the grapes in the top, and this is about 1/3 of the grapes that I have. So the steam, now this is only filled to about right there, and then this pot sits on it. I'm going to see. Hey, can you help me for a second? I want to show you how it works. So anyway, I didn't even take the stems off. They're all nice and clean, and when this is all juiced, I'm actually going to take the pulp from these and I'll run it through. They'll all come off of here now, and then I'll run them through a mill and we'll make something else, like maybe a grape butter. Can you lift this up for me, please? I'm having to hold my phone. So this is empty, see? And there's water down there. This is a steam juicer. So steam comes up this hole into the bottom of that, which is dripping, because that's actually like a, lift it up again. Thank you. See the little holes? So it'll come up in there and it kind of bursts these, and the juice runs down into this pot, and then you have this cool tube to drain it out of. So we'll get to that. I'm going to let it go and I will come back to you. I got to put the lid on, and I'll come back to you when we get to a part where there's some juice coming out of here so you can see what's going on. Lid's on. Alright, see you in a little bit. Okay, so now that I've rinsed the rest of my grapes and put them out on towels on the counter, I'm going to stand back and say I maybe have 4 batches to do in the juicer, so I'm going to be up late tonight. But I'll come back to you when they're all done. Okay, see, they look so nice. But now I want to show you, these have been going about 20 minutes. See how they're cooking down? And then here, there's quite a bit of juice, but not enough to fill this tube. Once I start seeing it in the tube, then I'll start draining it. Okay, you guys, so see, there's some beautiful grape juice in the tube. Now, go ahead and let it out. Oh, wait. Here comes some more. I'll probably tip this a little forward. There it comes. Look at that. All that grape juice. And it's so hot. Be careful with that. Alright, so we're going to do batch number 2. Okay, you guys, here's the juice that I got. It's really, really concentrated, and it's really, really tart. So I'm not going to add water to make it not as concentrated because I want it that way. Because I'm also going to be canning these in quarts, not half gallons. And so what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to add a little bit of sugar to make it a little bit more to taste. I added a cup already. I think I'll add 1 more cup, and that should be about right. And so this you just kind of add to your own flavor. Some people like it real sweet and some don't. And remember, if you don't want to make it too sweet, that's okay, because you can always add a little bit of sugar when you open it. So it doesn't have to be super sweet. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it to just about boiling. I've got my jars sterilized. I'm going to pull the jars over and I'm going to fill them with juice to about 1/4 of an inch to the rim. And then I'm going to put them in the steam canner, and the processing time for the steam canner is the same as the processing time for the boiling water canner, which is awesome. But the cool part is that steam canner heats up really, really quickly, so it's cutting the time down, which is wonderful because it's almost 11 o'clock at night here when I'm trying to do these things. But I'm going to taste this now and see what I think about it. See if I need to add some more sugar. Yeah, I think another cup or so will be good. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add some sugar. I'm going to keep working on stirring this around and getting it just right so that I can can it, and when I'm ready to put it in the jars, I will bring you back and we'll see how that goes. Okay, you guys, I've been fighting foam. I'll show you. I scooped all this foam off the top of this juice, and then you have to be careful. I've done 4 jars already, but you have to be careful because the foam will happen when you're pouring your juice in the jars. You want to eliminate that as much as you can. So what I'm doing is just kind of letting it drizzle down the side slowly of the funnel and into the jar. And then there will be a lot less foam than if you just dump it in there. See, look, there's foam. But I'll get it toward the top, then I'll take a spoon and carefully scoop it out without, you know, hitting the side of the jar or anything. Don't want to do that. So I'm going to carefully pour this in here, because it's a pain, the foam. What are you laughing at? My husband's laughing at me. I like foam in your juice. But it tastes really, really good. It smells good, doesn't it, dear? They can't hear you shake your head. He's shaking his head. He's not saying, yes, dear, it's fantastic. See the foam? Ugh. Hate the foam. It's only because I want to get my headspace correct. It's a 1/4 of an inch headspace. And this is a good one, though. This is this kind of thing if you want to do these types of juices where you can add sugar to your taste, because then it's better for people that are on low sugar or something. You can make it that way, and then you can add sugar. People who can have sugar can add it afterwards. Alright, so foam. Get rid of the foam. I'm scooping the foam out of there. That's better. And then I'll just top it off, and then it will be perfect little jar of juice. Look at that. So when I'm done with all of these, then I'm going to have my steam canner out here, and I'll show you guys how that setup looks. Oops, totally made a mess right there. That's why I use this bowl, because if I spill, it goes in the bowl. Genius. Okay, now I'm going to put my lid on. Here comes the flat, and then we'll throw on a ring, and I'm going to finish my jars. Ooh, that didn't feel right. Okay, that felt better. I could tell it was not on there correctly. Okay, there we go. So we'll be back to you when I finish all the rest of these jars. Look at that fantastic grape juice. Alright, we'll see you in a few. Okay, so I've got everything jarred up, and I've got my steam canner sitting here. Now, the steam canner is very cool because it uses way less water. I'll show you how that works. On the bottom, there's a rack. Underneath that rack is just a couple of inches of water. And so now what you do is you set your jars on this rack, and it'll hold 9 pints or 7 quarts. I actually ended up with 10 quarts of juice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 5 in each canner load, and that will be perfect. So I'll put those in there. Now what happens is when this boils and the lid is on the top, this will fill with steam, and that will create an internal temperature the same as if you were boil water canning. So let me get those over there. And on this model, it actually has a little gauge. And if you're, I'm the blue line because I'm at like 300 feet, so I'm less than 1,000 feet. So that little dial has to go all the way around to where it gets to the green mark, and then I'll know that it's at the right temperature. And it has 3 zones. The first one is 0 to 3,000. The next one is 3 to 6,000, and the other one is 6 to 9,000 feet. So I'm going to put this on here. I'm going to turn the heat up to get that bottom boiling. And here's a couple things you don't want. You don't want the lid to be dancing like this, coming up and down because there's so much steam pushing it up. You don't want that to happen. There's a little hole right there that steam will escape from, and we'll just watch it. What happens when that fills up with steam and the internal temperature is correct, then I'm going to process this juice for 5 minutes. Now, I did mention that my jars, I think I mentioned that my jars were sterilized, and you can remember why. because I have to sterilize my jars because the processing for this is less than 10 minutes. If it's over 10 minutes, you don't have to because they actually sterilize during the process. But these will go, once this reaches the little green line, then they'll go for 5 minutes, and then you take the lid off and you let them sit for, I believe it's 5 minutes. I'll double check the instructions and I'll let you know for sure when I do that. But that's what you do, and then you let them sit, and then you set them over and let them cool like normal, just like if you were taking them out of a boiling water canner. So I'm pretty excited about this because of the small amount of water. It boils. It comes to boil really fast, whereas the boil water canners are so filled with water that it takes a really long time, and I don't like to wait, especially when it is 11:39 at night and I want to go to bed. So I will do 2 batches, and I will be back to you when I'm done with the second batch. Okay, I've reached, you can see the little green. I've got to the green. I think you can. Can you see it? Yeah. So I'm at the green, so now I can start timing. And it was, what was it? 139. It's 150, or it's 11:39 is when I started. It's now 11:53. So it took no time at all to heat up to the proper temperature. But you can see my lid is kind of lifting up a little bit. So I'm going to turn my temperature down a little bit on my heat on my stove so that it doesn't do that, but it maintains the level of where it's supposed to be on the gauge right there at green. So I'm going to start a timer, and we'll be back when it's done. Okay, there they are. My 5 minutes passed. My timer went off, and I took the lid off, and I'll let them sit for about 5 minutes, and then I'll move them over to cool, and I'll put the next batch of 5 on here. So I will see you when the next batch is done. But this isn't bad. It's 12 o'clock exactly, and which is cool because at 11:59 I got 10,000 steps on my Fitbit. So yay. But it's 12 o'clock exactly. I started this process at 11:39. So that's not bad timing. So anyway, I'm loving the steam canner. So I'll come back when the second batch is done. Alright, there's my 10 quarts of fantastic grape juice. And yes, you do take the lid off and let them sit for 5 minutes. And it says that the reason you do that, of course, is to, it helps to eliminate breakage, the chance of breakage, because of the extreme temperature difference. So if it's sitting there with the lid off and the steam is still coming, it's kind of cooling down a little bit, because of the lid being off, but there's still enough steam for it's not a real change in temperature. So anyway, there we go. I have 10 wonderful quarts of grape juice. So I will be doing some more things in the steam canner because I'm really liking it. And I think I've got some crab apples to do. I know I do because I got about, I don't know, I think probably 40 pounds of them sitting over there, and I've got some rose hips that I want to do too. So anyway, there you go. Thanks for watching, and if you get a chance to do some juice because it's good stuff. Alright, thanks for watching.